no respect.
All right, it's week 11, November 15th, 2023. And to all you hunters out there in the woods today, congratulations on your bucks. I wish I was out there with you. And maybe I will be. Maybe you're going to have a chance to watch this video as you guys settle in tonight, talk about deer camp and all the stories from the woods today. All right, so some interesting developments on the injury report today. And there's a couple of players on here that I'm just kind of sick of seeing. I really am. And I'm not trying to be negative Nancy today, but it just kind of bothers me that, you know, the same players seem to pop up year in, year out, week in, week out. And we're getting far less of them on the field and more of them off the field. And I don't think that's the way it's supposed to work with an NFL contract, but I guess I could be surprised. So let's talk about it. The first guy that I'm going to tell you about, I brought up into a video that probably will pop up at the end of this one. And that's Halapouliuti Vaitai. And as everybody's really aware by this point, Dan Campbell made it well known today that it's very unlikely that Vaitai is going to return from this. He's just been battling the back and the knee and the back, and it just doesn't appear that it's getting better to the point where, one, it's probably safe medically for him to continue doing what he's doing. And he's just been nothing but a trooper. You know, he's really given everything that he has to this team, this sport, and his brothers on the field. And I respect, 100% his decision to try to preserve whatever quality of life that he's going to have post-football. It's probably the smartest move for him, to step back and get healthy. And if he is able to come back, great. But at this point, Dan Campbell doesn't think it's likely, and I wouldn't be mad at him if he couldn't. So is what it is. Wish you well, Vaitai. And you're definitely not one that I'm, upset with right now. It's just a couple of other guys. And I will go through the IR report as well. But banging news today. Great news. Donovan Peoples-Jones is not listed on the injury report. Is he going to play this weekend? That's what we don't know. And after what we saw this last weekend, it seemed like everybody got in the game. And this next guy that I'm going to talk about, Khalif Raymond, who's battling what appears to be a ankle injury. It is quite possible. He was limited in practice today. It is quite possible that they could give Khalif Raymond, the week off and get DPJ inserted into this offense. I'm going to hedge my bet that way for now until we see how things trend. One, we got to make sure that DPJ can make it through a full week of practice. But looks like he's ready. And I'm ready too, man. I want to see this guy in the field. In a Lions uniform, at least. So, all right, next guy is safety Ifeatu Melifonwu battling a hand injury. It's a new injury, just like Khalif Raymond's. And let me back up to Raymond for just a second here, because it appeared that he injured or rolled his ankle when he was downfield blocking for David Montgomery on that long run this past Sunday versus the Chargers. So whatever that is, it doesn't appear to be major, but ankles are funny, and especially for a receiver. So Ifeatu Melifonwu is battling a new injury, hand injury. Not too sure what it's from or how it happened, but according to his snap count, he only got into defensive snaps over the weekend and played in a handful of special team snaps. So it is quite possible that it did happen on special teams versus a regular defensive snap. Whether that even matters or not, probably not. An injury is an injury is an injury. It doesn't matter where or when it happened. But this is one of the guys that I'm kind of getting sick of seeing on the injury report. It seems like he pops up every year, 3, 4, 5 times a year, sometimes for multiple weeks. And it's just been a consistent issue with him since he was drafted. And his availability is limited. And how can you dress a team every week, right? I mean, I know injuries happen, and I get it. And there's things that you can't prevent. But for me, it's time for the Lions to go out and find some new guys. Next season, you just got to cut bait with some of these guys that are consistently injured. I get it. They might be great locker room guys. They might fit your culture and identity really well. But man, if he can't stay on the field, what's the point of having him on the team? A lot of other guys stay on the field. And right now is when we need guys healthy. Next guy, another one I'm not happy with. Defensive lineman Levi Onwuzurike. Now, look, I know he's been battling this hip issue. And last week, he didn't practice at all, I don't believe. This week, he was at least limited. But that still doesn't rest easy with me that he has spent more time off the field than he has been on the field. And when he's been on the field, he really hasn't done anything. I was really hopeful that Levi was going to turn out to be at least a very high quality backup in this league and a pretty good number 2. And that hasn't happened, hasn't transpired. So if I were the GM, I would be drafting a defensive lineman or finding a defensive lineman in free agency quite early. Someone that can be a game wrecker, game changer, someone that's going to help Aiden Hutchinson and whoever else is on the other side get in and get to the quarterback. Pressure's great, but pressure doesn't matter unless it turns into a game-changing play. And that's what this defense is missing, is game-changing plays, right? Game-defining moments, 3 and outs, TFLs, interceptions. I mean, we are like in the bottom of the barrel in all of the stats that matter. Pass rush win rate, terrible. Interceptions, one of the lower ones in the league. TFLs, one of the lower ones in the league, but we're getting a ton of pressure. It's just not doing anything for us. So these 3 guys were limited today in practice. More than likely, Iffy and Khalif should be able to go this weekend. I wouldn't mind seeing Khalif get a rest and DPJ get inserted because I don't see how they're going to carry, 6 or 7 wide receivers versus the Bears. I see this being a game that we're probably going to want more defenders in. Yeah, at least more corners and safeties. The other guy that popped up was defensive tackle Isaiah Buggs, and he popped up with an illness. Nothing we can do about that. I mean, an illness is an illness. You can't prevent it. You can be as clean as you want. You're still going to catch a bug. And it just sucks because I feel like Isaiah Buggs has been instrumental when he's been in. And it seems like our defense plays that much better when Buggs is in. And he just hasn't been in a whole lot this year because he's been a healthy scratch. And I just don't get it. Look, the tape doesn't lie. The first game the Buggs got in, I believe was it the Tampa game? And he played a hell of a game. And our defense played pretty darn well. So I think the next game he was already out. It just doesn't make any sense to me. If you're not putting Broderick Martin in, Buggs has to be in the game. We need a big body in there. And yeah. Anyway, kind of sucks. It just really sucks for him. It's not going to help him, get off the schneid of being a healthy scratch. All right, so IR. Who's coming back and when? Well, Hendon Hooker. He's eligible to return at any time. He's been fine. He's been ready to go. The issue in the beginning of the season that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes both spoke to was if he didn't get his quota for eligibility this season, something about squeezing an extra year out of the contract. Inadvertently, I think is the word they used. But if you don't play or if you're not active for at least 6 games a season, you don't accrue a full season of, NFL. I don't know. I don't even know what the term is anymore, but you don't accrue a full year, of being an active member on an NFL team. So it's like you never played. And I think that the contract gets lengthened by a year or something to that effect. So they really wanted to bring him in this season. But if math serves me right, if he's not in after or by next weekend, by week 12, then he won't be able to accrue a full season, which means I think the Lions retain him for an extra season or something like that. I don't know. I have to do some more research on that. Mohamed Ibrahim, he's eligible to return after week 13. Jason Kabinda, he's eligible to come back anytime. Same goes for Matt Nelson, offensive tackle. Vaitai, we know, is most likely done for the season. James Houston, he's also eligible to return at any time, but it sounds like the Lions are looking for a December comeback. And I, when I read that today, I was also already thinking to myself, I don't expect a lot of these guys to come back until after week 13. And the reason why, and I'm thinking about it analytically, logistically, whatever, you have to be out of the NFL or out of the or on IR for 4 weeks, right? So if you have to be on IR for 4 weeks, that means if you get hurt in week 11, 12, or 13, then you could still come back in the regular season. No problem. But if you get hurt after week 14 or in week 14, then you're done for the season. Now, how does that work with playoffs? That's what I don't know. Do you have to be eligible to return before the regular season ends to be eligible for the playoffs? That's the question that I'm going to get answered, because I'm going to dive into it. I'm going to find that answer. I downloaded the rule book today, and I want to find some things that we've been looking for and some answers that we've been trying to find. CJ Gardner Johnson, he'll be eligible to return at any time. Again, I would not expect that the Lions are going to rush him back right now. If he comes back mid-December, that would be great. I would hope that they would want to get him a couple of games of action before a playoff game. And that's what I would expect. You need to be on the field and getting that chemistry back with your guys. And then long snapper Scott Daly, doubtful he comes back. I mean, I don't think the Lions are going to waste, one of the IR designations on a long snapper when they've already got Jake McQuaid, who played excellent, in the limited things he had to do this weekend. All right. So with that said, are you guys excited about DPJ or what? I am. In other news, which will also be popping up in the video, you guys know that we signed Bruce Irvin, defensive end, and we also brought in cornerback for some much needed depth. Let's see, what was his name? Kindle Vildor. And we also brought in another offensive guard to help replace Vaitai, Michael Schofield. So there'll be a little bit more information in the video popping up. And I would love to know from you guys in the comments, what are you expecting for DPJ when he does finally get his shot? Is he going to start earning some reps right away? Is Goff going to be able to build any sort of chemistry in this limited amount of time that they have together? It was great to get him in during the bye week, to get in, extra couple of weeks to be able to learn each other a little bit, to get going on the playbook, maybe get a couple extra practices in. But this is a guy that I feel is kind of chameleon-esque, right? He's going to come in and blend. He's going to be somebody that can be inserted anywhere and do well at his job. I don't think that he's someone that's going to require a lot of additional time to get up to speed. And where does that come from, right? It comes from his body of work. It comes from what he did at college and what he's done in the pros and how hard of a worker he is and how intelligent he is. A lot of, people around the NFL speak volumes, high volumes, to just how intelligent DPJ is. And that's what I'm excited to see, is a heady wide receiver that is also aggressive. And when you start blending those things together, it's like adding gasoline onto a fire. And then that's what we're going to see. This offense is as potent as it is, might get that much more potent by just adding DPJ. So we're well on our way. I can't wait to see how this season shapes up, but not so fast. I want to enjoy it a little bit. I feel like I wake up on Monday and the next thing you know, it's Sunday. And the weeks just fly by. But that's our injury report for today. And it's not a bad one. We're doing okay. I just wish I would stop seeing some of these names pop up, because, man, we're entering the last half of the season where we need all hands on deck and need to stay healthy. So that's it. Look, hey, hope you guys had a wonderful day in the woods. I'm jealous. And if you have any extra jerky, hey, send some to me. I love to try out your recipes. All right, y'all. Take care. Have a good day. Go on Pride. Go Detroit Lions.
Wants to throw it to Sewell. He caught it. He's going to first down. Oh, yes. The big man dives down the 31-yard line. Oh, that is beautiful. Fields looking, pressured, hit from behind, taken down. Aiden Hutchinson got him.
No respect.
So, we look like we're ready. This is day one.
No respect.